A dash of mystery, a sparkle of magic, and all things cozy. Join your host, Elle Hartford, for Cozy Alchemy, a proud member of the Authors on the Air network. Hello and welcome to Cozy Alchemy, the podcast all about cozy, crafty books. I'm Elle, and my guest today is Lois Winston, author of, most recently, Embroidered Lies and Alibis, but plenty of books aside from that. And we will get to talking about them in just a minute, but first, Lois is going to start us off with a game of two truths and a lie.
Okay, hello everybody. Here they are. When playing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I can get to Kevin Bacon in 2 degrees.
Ooh.
My communist mother-in-law was the inspiration for my sleuth communist mother-in-law. And I once had a close encounter with a very friendly whale.
Ooh. Oh, those are fun. Ooh, and I really hope that number 3 is true, because I want to ask more questions about that. So I'm going to guess that the first one is the lie. Kevin Bacon. Oh.
No, Kevin Bacon's father went to the same church in Philadelphia that my husband and I went to, and he sat 2 rows in front of us and across the aisle. That was his seat every single Sunday.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, does that mean the second one is the lie?
No,
No.
my mother-in-law was a card-carrying communist.
Oh boy. All right, okay, so that means the whale is the lie then.
I have gone on whale watching expeditions, and I have never gotten to see a whale out in the wild, only in aquariums.
Ah. Okay, that's a bummer though. Oh, so that does beg the question, is there a type of whale that you would like to see? Like if you could have an encounter
I would
with
just
one.
like to see any whales out in the wild.
Fair. I will say we have occasionally seen dolphins.
I have seen
From the
dolphins
shore,
and I've seen
right?
porpoises, yes, but
Right, yeah.
never a whale.
Ah, it's a bummer. But I had to bring up dolphins, of course, because I've seen them, especially from the Jersey Shore,
Hmm.
which comes in, and we'll talk about it in a little bit because I'm so excited because your series takes place in New Jersey.
Yes, it
Uh,
does.
yeah,
And
so
some of the books take place at the Jersey Shore.
okay. I'm very excited. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, so the most recent one in the series is Embroidered Lies and Alibis, which is book
There it
15.
is.
There it is. Lovely. Can you tell us a little about it to get us started?
Well, Embroidered Lies and Alibis opens in the aftermath of Seems Like the Perfect Crime, which is the
Nice.
book that preceded it. When my husband and I lived in New Jersey, we had a very strange neighbor who lived across the street from us.
Mm.
This man had a postage stamp sized front yard that was filled with weeds and rocks, and he would spend hours without a shirt on, beer belly sticking out of some ratty shorts, barefoot, and pushing a lawnmower over his weed-infested lawn until the lawnmower ran out of gas. He would then climb up onto his little porch and guzzle beer until he passed out.
Oh my goodness.
This happened year-round as long as it wasn't raining or snowing. And I just decided that at one point that someday he was going to go into a book. And
Mm.
he went into Seems Like the Perfect Crime. And there's also something that happens with his wife and a neighbor that is taken from a real life situation that I observed out of my window.
Oh. Makes the best inspiration.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So I just decided that the way Seems Like a Perfect Crime ended, I figured that readers might want to know what happened to some of the characters afterwards.
Mm.
And the story opens with the aftermath of the end of Seems Like the Perfect Crime. And then it
Okay.
goes on from there.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, and so we end up with well, a couple different things going on in the book, right? It's the couple different storylines. But one of them involves a con man.
Hmm.
Um, who I hope that's not saying too much.
No, no, but
um,
the book really, the
yeah,
first chapter basically opens with that.
yeah.
I'm a news junkie, and I get most of the ideas for the plots in my books from things that I either read in the newspaper or see on the evening news. And there was an article in the New York Times right around the time that I was starting to kind of think about ideas for a plot for the next book. It was about a carjacking that had a cryptocurrency connection to it. And I thought, oh, I can use this. And that was the basically the inciting incident in the book comes from that. And then at the same time, as I was writing the book, there were a lot of things on the news about women, especially elderly women, falling for scams where they were told to go and buy Bitcoin and go to one of these Bitcoin machines and deposit it.
Mm,
And I combined those two to formulate my plot.
nice. I really like we already have this kind of theme developing of taking inspiration from real life. And I love that, especially from the kind of just like minute details of people's everyday lives.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just the smallest thing that you read, and it's not just the news. Is I've gotten ideas for scenes in books from reading Dear Abby, and I once
Mm.
for a one of the my early chick lit books when I was writing chick lit, I got inspiration from leafing through I think it was Road and Track magazine. I was at the doctor's and they were running late, and I had forgotten to grab a book before I left the house. And they had no magazines that really interested me, but I was sitting there for 45 or 50 minutes already, and I
Oh.
just grabbed, and was leafing through Road and Track, and there was these weird advertisements at the back of the magazine. And oh, I could use this, and I ripped the page out and took it home with me. And it did show up in one of my books.
I love that. Well, it begs the question: have you always been like that? Like even as a kid, were you like that, or did it come with writing?
Well, as a kid, my grandfather was the captain of the Essex County Police Force,
Ooh,
Newark being the county seat of Essex
right,
County. And
right.
he he was responsible for capturing and bringing to justice a lot of gangsters during the 20s and 30s and
Mm.
40s. Probably went into the 50s too. I was only 6 years old when he died. So everything that
Oh.
I know is from eavesdropping on the adults talking when they
Ah.
thought I was outside playing. I have been an eavesdropper my entire life. I also went to school with a lot of mafia princes and princesses, the sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters of made men.
Oh
So
boy.
I have a lot of stories in my head from things that I have observed or overheard over the years. And if you've ever seen The Sopranos, I can tell you that It's not fiction. I mean, David Chase has changed the names of people to protect the. Remember the thing in Dragnet? Only the names and places have been changed to protect the innocent or the not
Yeah.
so innocent.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, and I have to admit, since we are talking about Newark and New Jersey, so I live in New Jersey now, but I'm a transplant, right? I grew up on the West Coast, so I came to New Jersey originally for work. I knew nothing about it really. Uh, so it's so much fun to see the way that you've like really embraced it in your series.
I,
How,
I think it's a
yeah,
great state. I mean, it gets a bad rap, but
yeah.
there is so much to mine in New Jersey for plots and even settings. I mean, most no matter where you live in New Jersey, within an hour, you could be in Philadelphia or Manhattan, up in the mountains, down the shore, in
Yeah.
horse country. It's a pretty interesting state.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. I'm very happy here. And hearing you say that, I can see how, like, has that kind of come up in your series? Like, are you able to then send Anastasia to different, different settings, all sorts of different themes?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. That's right. You mentioned you had some on the shore, right?
Yeah. She in Sorry Not Sorry, which is book 13.
Mm.
A good deal of that story takes place down in Ocean Grove,
Oh, fun.
which
Yeah.
is my favorite place down the shore to go.
Ah, okay. Yeah, everybody has their specific favorite place. So that's one of the things I've learned as an outsider. My husband's family always goes to LBI. So that's,
Okay, I
yeah.
I went to LBI when I was living in Philadelphia because it was a lot closer to get from Philadelphia to LBI than to go all the
Mm,
way up to Ocean Grove. When I moved back to New Jersey, it was Ocean Grove.
I see. Nice, nice. But now, so you must have you grew up around Newark, right?
I was born in Newark.
Mm.
I lived in Hillside until I was 5. I then moved to Newark, and I was lived in Newark until I was 11, almost 12, I guess. And then we
Okay.
then, then we moved to Union.
Oh, okay. Okay. But your sleuth, Anastasia, she lives, did you say she lives in Morristown? Did I catch
No,
that
she
right?
works in Morristown.
Works in
Actually,
Morristown.
she works in the middle of a cornfield outside of Morristown that was supposed to
Okay.
be developed into this big, business center. And they built the train station, and they built one building, and they never built more. But I lived in Westfield for 23 years until my
Ah.
husband and I moved down to Middle Tennessee outside of Nashville in 2021.
So does Anastasia live in a place where you lived roughly? Where's her
Yeah,
home
I
base?
actually,
Yeah.
the street she lives on, I patterned her, that being the street that she lives on.
Ah, that's cool. I like I love the parallel there because we were just talking about drawing inspiration from people in everyday life, but also so much of the setting, just intrinsic to the setting, I think sometimes is a good story, right? Like you
Yeah,
were
and
saying with the yeah,
I've had
go for it.
readers who write to me and say, "Oh, I was there. I know exactly what you're talking about."
That's cool. That's cool. And very special, yeah, especially for New Jersey folks who are maybe used to seeing themselves just as the Sopranos or yeah. A
We're
little
we're we're not like the people in Jersey Shore or The
yeah.
Sopranos.
Yeah. Fair.
Somebody once told me that none of the Jersey Shore people actually lived in or were from New Jersey.
That's what I've heard too. People have been very, emphatic about it, actually. It's all people coming on down from New York City, they say. Yep. I'm just an outsider. I just observe.
Well, no, you're a Jersey girl now.
Well, yeah, I've been here long enough. Okay. But so the other thing that really had to make sure that I asked you about your series, because obviously I'm sure readers will have picked this up from your titles, but your theme throughout them is crafting,
Mhm.
which is so much fun. A very, very classic, cozy, but also just like a lot of fun for Anastasia because she's reporting, right? She runs a crafts column.
Well, she works for a women's magazine, so
Right.
she is the crafts editor of the
There we
magazine.
go. Yeah. Which gives her chances to try out different crafts and things. Yeah.
And each book in the series uses a different craft. It's not like I'm writing an embroidery series
Right.
or a quilting
Right.
series. Every book uses a different type of features a different type of craft.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, that means it has to be asked, are you yourself a crafter? Have you tried out all of these crafts?
Yes, I have done all of those crafts. I
Oh,
worked for
man.
many years as a designer in the consumer craft industry. I'm the
Oh.
person who designed all of the projects from the kits and the magazines that you buy.
Oh, fun. That like a really cool job? It seems like it must be.
It was.
Yeah.
There are some people that say they love their jobs and they'll never retire. I was
Hmm.
one of them. I was forced into retirement when the craft industry nosedived and everybody that I worked for went out of business.
Oh. Oh, man. You have to imagine it kind of came back though, like during COVID, right? Have you
A
seen a
little bit.
resurgence? Yeah,
Yeah, but not the way it was. I mean,
not to the same.
once
Mm.
upon a time there were only a handful of convention centers that were large enough to host the annual craft industry shows.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's
the
wild.
industry has really shrunk tremendously.
Oh, that's too bad. But I mean, your series, you've got 15 books. Do you have still many ideas for different not mysteries and everything aside, but just for the different crafts to feature?
Yeah, I mean there are so many crafts out there. The biggest drawback that I have is that I can't put directions in the books where people would need patterns, because most
Oh.
people read ebooks or, paperbacks. The patterns would never fit on the page. So what I've done is try to find projects that I can give written directions to without patterns. And occasionally I will have things on my website that people can download.
I see. That's clever. Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate that because of course, with cozies we're used to having recipes in the back or craft ideas, but yeah, you are limited by your medium.
Right. So
Yeah.
what I started doing was with each book, I will um, upload the directions for the craft on the website,
Mm.
because even if it's something that's just written directions, it's kind of hard to follow if you're on a Kindle, or you're sitting there with this paperback on your lap and trying to do something.
Yeah. Sure. I appreciate that like dedication to craft, honestly.
Well, crafting is the best diet. You can't if you're watching television, you can craft and watch television at the same time. You can't craft and eat at the same time, because you're just gonna get the food all over the craft.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gonna make a mess. I love that. It's a good way to keep your hands busy too.
Right.
Now, okay. Do you have a favorite craft? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Needlecraft.
Oh,
I
okay.
um I've always enjoyed needlecraft. When I was in college, I bought myself a needlecraft kit one day just to have something to do to relax, and I fell in
Mm,
love with it. And my background is in graphic design and illustration. When my
okay.
first son was born, I found that if I wanted to continue working at where I was working, I'd have to hand over my entire paycheck to somebody to watch my son. There wasn't that much childcare around at
Mm,
the time. And so I started freelancing I worked for John Wanamaker, the now defunct department store
right.
as a layout artist. And I would go in on Mondays and pick up work and go back in on Fridays and drop it off and pick up more work. And one day I was in a needlework shop not too far from where I lived, and I overheard a conversation between the shop owner and a customer who had said she had sold some designs to this company called Needles and Hoops. And I didn't realize what Needles and Hoops was at the time, but I remember driving past it. So I went home and I called them and I said, "Is it true you buy designs from freelancers?" They said yes. I said, "Could I make an appointment to come show you my work?" They said yes. A week later, I walked out with 7 assignments and counted cross stitch. I had never done counted cross stitch, but I quickly taught myself how to do counted cross stitch so I could
Yeah.
design counted cross stitch. And all of a
That's so
sudden, I had a
cool.
new career.
Wow. Isn't that so funny how things happen like that? Just you never know. And it something you overheard,
Yes,
fittingly enough.
eavesdropping. I get my best ideas from eavesdropping.
Well, and you've mentioned you have some chick lit books. You've had other mystery and romance series, but this one is your longest one, Anastasia's series. Um, what has made it your longest running series? What is it about it?
Well, when I was asked to write a crafting cozy by my agent, she
Mm.
had lunch with an editor who was looking for one, and she called me up and said, "Have you ever considered writing a cozy mystery with a crafting theme?" And I said, "No." She said, "Well, I want you to write one. I know an editor looking for one." And I said, "Okay." And then I had to first learn what a cozy mystery was. So I went to the library and I went to Barnes and Noble and I came back with armloads of books and I taught myself all about cozy mysteries. I had never read Nancy Drew as a kid. I was a
Mm.
Cherry Ames girl. I, had watched Murder She Wrote, but
Sure.
that was about all I knew about cozy mysteries. But I sat down and I decided right from the beginning if I was going to put the time into this, I wanted to do something that was just different enough that it didn't compete with everything else that was out there. The first thing that I realized was that in crafting cozies, the sleuth was always either a shop owner or a crafter of one particular craft. So there were scrapbooking cozies and there were quilting cozies and there were stained glass cozies. And I thought, well, what if I make my sleuth the crafts editor at a magazine? I worked with a lot of craft editors at magazines. I knew all about that industry. So, I came up with making Anastasia the crafts editor of American Woman magazine, which was this monthly magazine sold in supermarket checkouts.
Nice.
And then I decided, okay, I'm not a small town girl. I don't know much about small towns. I know cities and I know suburbs. I'm going to make her a suburban mother close to Manhattan.
Nice.
And that way I can move her around and set my books in different locales that, I wouldn't wind up with Cabot Cove syndrome.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So the books, some of the books take place at her workplace. One, Death by Killer Mocktail takes place at a morning TV show.
Mm.
Uh, I I have one book that takes place at a rehab center and an independent living center. When
Oh,
when
yeah.
her mother-in-law has a minor stroke.
Ooh.
One is on a cruise ship at a conference center. I even sent her to Tennessee to
Ah.
and set a mystery at a winery in Tennessee because when I moved down here, I discovered there are wineries in Middle Tennessee, which I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's one even like probably 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah. It's convenient for research.
Yes. The book that I'm working on now is that I decided that the last few books, because they took place in and around Westfield, I needed to move Anastasia somewhere else for a change, and it's going to take place at a ski resort up in upstate New York.
Oh, fun. Okay. Very cool. That's a good one to look
So
forward to then.
I just found that the books are different enough that
Mm.
it kind of piques the interest of readers and they took off. They I will continue writing them as long as people continue loving them and reading them
Aw,
because
that's
I
very
really
cool.
enjoy them. And at this point, Anastasia and I are joined at the hip anyway.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of words down. Yeah. A lot of adventures.
And
And
also
now,
that I wanted to write a humorous mystery series
mm,
because I just felt when I started writing this, it was not too long after 9/11. And, I was kind of in a funk about that. I mean, I was close enough to the World Trade Center
yeah.
that I smelled it when it happened.
Wow. Ooh, yeah.
And I needed to laugh. I had been writing some very dark, angsty, romantic suspense.
Mm,
And I just didn't want to do that anymore. So when my agent called and suggested I do this, it was like serendipity because I needed it for myself. And I found that other people needed it too. And I've had a lot of people write me and thank me because reading one of my books made them laugh at a time when they really needed to laugh.
mm.
And I think that strikes a chord with a lot of readers nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's really special. You know that you've done something good for that person.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
really sweet.
that is when you get an email like that from a reader, that's more precious than gold. It's just
Yeah.
you just it makes my day.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. Now, I had a note and I wanted to be sure to ask you because the reader community is one thing, but you're also really active in the author community.
Yes.
Uh, and so I just wanted to know if you have any tips for other authors who are looking to build connections.
Um, I would say only do what you feel comfortable doing.
Oh,
I when my agent sold the series, my new editor wanted me to be on social media, and she
mm,
was a big fan of Facebook. I was not. I was not on Facebook at the time, and she insisted, and I finally gave in and I set up a Facebook account. And within 5 minutes, I started getting friend requests from very sketchy people in places like
Um,
Pakistan and
mm,
Uzbekistan and and
yeah.
I closed the account immediately. I just didn't want that in my life. And
Mm,
I had heard about other people being scammed and kids being, there were a lot of predators on social media.
yeah. Yeah.
And, I said, no, I can't do this. I will start a blog instead. And she said, okay, but I want you to at least be on Twitter. Okay, I'll be on Twitter. Actually, Anastasia was on Twitter. I was not on Twitter. And and when
Nice.
she was no longer my editor, I got off Twitter.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I I am on well, my blog, which was started about 6 months before Assault with a Deadly Glue Gun came out in 2011. So the blog started in somewhere mid 2010.
mm.
Um, Last June, the blog was killed by
Was
Google.
killed.
I
Oh.
I went to upload a guest post and I couldn't get on to my dashboard,
Oh
and because
no.
Google owned Blogger, but they hadn't been supporting Blogger for a long time, and I couldn't.
Oh.
I went online to figure out, what was wrong, and I followed directions, and that only made it worse. And I finally
Oh my.
decided it's dead. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't even get on there to tell people I'm moving to another blog site. It will
Wow.
be probably be up there forever with that, last post sitting there. But I
Wow.
am on two group blogs. I'm on Stiletto Gang and I'm on Book Lovers Bench.
Nice.
I do lots of guest blogs. I have a newsletter that goes out once a month, and it's not just, a buy my book newsletter.
Hmm.
I engage with my newsletter readers. People who sign up for my newsletter get a free Anastasia Pollack Crafting mini mystery, a novella.
Nice.
The one that they get takes place in Barcelona.
Oh, fun. Very cool.
Um, I'm active on Sisters in Crime and Guppies and several other writing groups. I give
Hmm.
interviews. I'm on podcasts like today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do personal appearances. I do conferences. And I write articles for Killer Nashville magazine. So I figured, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I feel comfortable doing, all those things. I'm not going on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or anything else that crops up. I just don't feel comfortable being on those sites.
Right.
So
Well, and
it's,
yeah. Sorry.
just people should, I just, people should do
Yeah.
only what they feel comfortable doing. If they feel comfortable being
Yeah.
on Facebook, you know, so be it. Do it if
Yeah.
that works for you. But don't feel that you have to be on all of these different things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I think it's very encouraging your story, and even though, even with losing the blog, but like even so, you find other things, and there's always other ways to get yourself
Right.
out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really neat. Okay, now I ask this of everybody, but what advice would you give to yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself, like when you were just starting out, or maybe just starting with the crafting series? Like, what would you say to yourself?
Um, I would say take time to learn the craft
Hmm.
because when I started out writing, I thought I had written the great American novel. I had no idea that I had written the great American drivel until all of
Aw.
the rejection letters started coming into my
Yeah.
mailbox. And I found out afterwards that the average time it takes for someone from the time they start writing until they sell their first book is 10 years. And it
Mm.
was for for me, it was 10 years almost to the day that I sat down to write that first book until it was released.
Wow. Yeah,
So I, take the time and understand that the road to publication is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Don't get
absolutely.
dejected when the rejections start coming in, as they probably will, because there are very few people in this world who have written a book, sent it out, and gotten a contract right away. And then
Yeah.
even when you do get a contract, stuff happens. You only have control over your writing. You don't have control over anything else.
Mm.
Um, your publishing house folds. My first publisher went bankrupt.
Oof.
New York publisher. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you never
my
know.
my agent got cancer and passed away. And
Mm.
things happen in life. All
Mm-hmm.
you can control is your own writing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, the sense of perspective, right? Absolutely. Okay, so I will have like obviously your bio and your website in the show notes. Are there any of your specific blogs or anything that you want people to come find you at specifically?
Well, if they go find me at Stiletto Gang and Book Lovers
Mm.
Bench. Book Lovers
Mm-hmm.
Bench is more for readers than writers. And every month we give away 2 books. We do a raffle copter
Cool.
giveaway.
Nice.
So if people come to Book Lovers Bench, they always have the opportunity to win a free book.
Nice. That's a good tip.
And
All
if they
right.
go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, they will get a free Anastasia Pollack mini mystery
Right, in Barcelona, no less.
in Barcelona.
Very cool. Okay, we're going to end on a high note with our last question. What is one win that you've had in the past week?
Finally getting back into my writer's cave. We had some
Ah,
major work done on our house recently, and everything from the second floor had to be moved down to the first floor. And
ooh,
I've been stumbling over cartons of books in the dining room and the master bedroom for 2.5 weeks. And I was sharing a dining room table with my husband, elbow to elbow on our 2 laptops.
oh man.
So it's very nice to be back in my writing cave all by myself.
I bet. I bet. Well, Lois, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for hosting me, Elle. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm glad. And like I said, for listeners, you'll find the links in the show notes. And definitely check out the blog as well. And I will talk to you next time. Cozy Alchemy is brought to you by Authors on the Air, and our theme music is by Cyberwave Orchestra. For everything else, blame Elle. You can find her online at lhartford.com.